Hiya everyone, hope you're all well. I'm here today. Sorry I couldn't be with you on Thursday. I nearly lost my voice, so it's a bit better now, so hopefully we'll be okay. So today we're going to talk a bit about using future tenses, and we're going to go through all the different ways we use future tenses. So last week we did past and present, so today is the future. Okay, so we have different tenses for the future, and they all have different meanings and uses. So it can be, oh hi, yeah, thanks for joining. So it can be quite confusing, and often my students get confused with when to use which future tense. So that's what we're going to look at. So first of all, I will talk about when we use will. Hiya, thanks for joining. So will is your first future tense, and it gets used quite a lot because I think people learn to use this and then they don't know to use the other tenses instead. So will we use with the infinitive, and we use it just for a decision that we make on the spot. So for example, if I was in a cafe with my friend and they asked me what I wanted to drink, I might say I'll have a latte, for example, because I make the decision at the time that I'm speaking. I haven't planned it. It's not an intention or a plan, it's a decision that I've made at the time. So if somebody knocks on the door, I might say I'll get it, or I'll go. Okay? And we say I'll, we don't say I will, we always contract it, I'll. So I'll go, I'll answer the phone, I'll get the door, I'll have a coffee. It's all decisions made at the time of speaking. Okay, so that's its first use. But the confusing thing is that it has more than one use. So we use it for this reason. We also use it to make a promise. So if I say, I don't know, I'll call you tomorrow. I promise I'll call you tomorrow. So will can be used for a promise. It can be used as an offer, like I'll help you. And again, we would just use will with these ones. And you can use shall in a similar way. Like you say, I will help you, or you could say, shall I help you, as a question, like an offer with a question. So promises, offers, on-the-spot decisions, and also when we're talking about predictions. So a prediction for the future, so what you think will happen, but if you don't have actually any evidence. So it's just really your own thought or your own opinion without any evidence, without anything to back it up, if you like. So when you use will for a prediction, you have no evidence to go with it. It's just what you think will happen. So, for example, I don't know, I think, I think it'll rain tomorrow, but I haven't seen the weather forecast, so I don't know, I'm just guessing. Okay? If I've seen the weather forecast, and the weather forecast says rain, I could say it's going to rain tomorrow, because I have evidence, because I've looked at the weather forecast. The weather forecast has told me that. But if I'm just guessing, I use will. Okay? So I'll just type up the main uses for you. So we use will plus the infinitive, and that is for, I call them on-the-spot decisions, so a decision made at the time. Okay? For on-the-spot decisions, so that's at the time. When we say on the spot, it means like at that moment. Decisions, promises, offers, and predictions without evidence. without evidence. Okay, so the prediction, which is just your thought, no one else's. If I'm sorry, I meant to say at the beginning, if I speak too quickly or too quietly, please just tell me, and I will slow down or speak up or repeat myself. Okay, and if you have any questions, just ask. Okay, so that's will plus infinitive. The decision you make now, without any thinking about it beforehand, so no planning, just the decision you've made now. Like when I'm doing this and I say, oh, I will just type that up for you. So that means that I just made the decision now to type the information up. So for a decision we make at the time, for a promise, an offer or a prediction without evidence. Okay, so that's will. Excuse me. So the next tense you usually learn is going to. Okay, and the going to we use for a plan for the future, or a plan or an intention. So your intention is what you are planning to do, okay, what you intend to do. So going to plus the infinitive is used for a plan, intention, or a prediction for the future with evidence. So like when you're, like I said earlier, when you're looking at the weather forecast and the weather forecast says rain, you say, look, it's going to rain tomorrow. This is the weather forecast. The weather forecast says rain. It's going to rain. I have evidence. Okay, so predictions with evidence are going to, and when you have a plan or an intention, you can use going to. So, for example, I'm going to run a half marathon this year. Okay, that's my plan. It's my intention. It's what I want to do in the future. And I'm going to enter the race so that I know that I'm definitely going to do it. I'm pretty sure that this is going to happen. Okay, it's my plan, it's my intention. So I can use going to for this. So going to plus infinitive. As for plans and intentions. Or predictions with evidence. There we go. Okay, so I could say, I'm going to see my friend this afternoon. That is my plan, because I've spoken to my friend and we've organised it. So I'm going to see my friend this afternoon, and I'm going to take my daughter with me. And then if I wasn't sure, I might say, oh, I think I'll have pasta for tea, but I'm not sure. So it's not like a, oh, hiya. So it's not certain. So if it's not certain, I'll use will. If I'm certain and it's my plan, it's my intention, I use going to. Okay, so they're quite easy to remember, and they're the two future tenses that you usually get taught quite. Oh, hello from Madrid. Very nice. How is it in Madrid? I hope it's nicer than in England. It's horrible in England today. It's grey and miserable. Mind you, I don't know if it's that warm in Madrid, but it can't be as miserable as England. So the next one. Is it sunny? I'm jealous. Lucky you. Is it hot? It's not hot though, is it? Please tell me it's not hot. It's not cold in England, but it's really grey and miserable, and it looks like it's going to rain again. Sunny and nice. Oh, that's good. Well, have a nice holiday. I'm very jealous. I'm jealous of everybody on holiday. Okay, but it's okay. Because I have a plan. I'm going to go to Australia at Easter. So, and I can say going to now because it's my plan and my intention. Because it's not hot, but it's sunny. Okay, well, that's good. It's good. So my plan or intention for Easter is that I'm going to go to Australia to see my brother. So I'm very excited. which is good. And then I can send messages telling everybody that I'm in the sunshine. Okay, so when we use going to, it's our plan or it's our intention. Now, it gets confusing because you can use going to, or you can use present continuous for the future. Okay, so when you use present continuous, you use the normal form, but you say the time in the future. And, yeah, it's a good plan. So we use the time in the future to say, so that people realise you're talking about the future and not now, but we just use the normal present continuous form. So, for example, I can say, I'm going to use this example so often between now and Easter, because I'm so excited. I am flying to Australia at Easter, for example. Okay, and that is present continuous for the future. And it's confusing because you can use it in the same way that you use going to, and people use this probably a lot more than going to, because it's easier, because there's less words. I'll explain. I'll just type this up. Hang on. Present continuous for the future. So a present continuous for the future is for plans and intentions, set arrangement. There has to be something that's quite certain. Okay, so it's like plans and intentions, like going to, and something that is fairly certain. So like arrangements you've made with other people. As long as you're sure you're doing it, you can use present continuous. We say arrangements, if you like. Ooh. Sorry. Okay, so I would say, I can say I'm flying to Australia at Easter because I've made this arrangement. I've organised it with my brother. If I've booked a ticket, then I can say I'm flying. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So, and often we use. So, for example, if I was going swimming this afternoon, I would say I'm going swimming this afternoon, because easier, rather than saying I'm going to go swimming this afternoon, I just say I'm going swimming this afternoon. So some people get a bit confused if they hear people saying going, but they're without saying going to go. But it means the same. It's your plan for the future, and it's a certain plan. It's like an arrangement you've made, something that you're sure you're going to do. You can use present continuous. So I can say I'm going to Australia at Easter. I'm going to Australia at Easter. Or I could say I'm going to go to Australia at Easter. But normally people just use present continuous. I'm going to Australia. Okay? Not I'm going to go, because it's too many words, too difficult. Okay? So present continuous is when we've got a certain plan, a certain arrangement. So this afternoon I could say I'm seeing my friend this afternoon, because I've made that plan with my friend. I could say I'm going to see my friend this afternoon, using going to, or I'm seeing my friend this afternoon, using present continuous. And it's the same meaning. There's no difference. It's just that when you use the present continuous, it's probably more common that people would use the present continuous and they use the time in the future. So I can't just say I'm seeing my friend, because that would intend that that would mean I'm doing that now and I'm not seeing her now. So I'd say I'm seeing my friend this afternoon. That's my plan for the afternoon. Okay? So we've got going to and present continuous, and they are both plans for the future, and they are plans which you're certain about. You have made an arrangement, you've got an intention, that's what you're doing. Okay, so far we've got will, going to, and present continuous. Excuse me. Right, so the next one we can use is we can use present simple for the future. And this can only be used for like timetables and schedules. So, for example, if I was saying our lesson starts tomorrow at 9 o'clock, okay, or class starts at 9 o'clock. My appointment is at 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so it's a set timetabled event, and you can use present simple for that. So my my parents' flight arrives at 5:30 tomorrow morning, which is terrible because I have to pick them up. I have to drive to Gatwick Airport tomorrow morning to pick up my parents, and their flight gets in at 5:30 in the morning. I'm not looking forward to it at all. It's very early. I have to leave my house at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Ugh. Right, so you can say present simple. Present simple for the future for a timetabled event, or like a certain event in the future. So, for example, class starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow, for example. Okay? Or the flight lands at 5:30. Okay, so if it's a certain set time in the future, we can use present simple. Okay, but it has to be like a set time. It's not just a general thing. We use it for timetables, for schedules, and for things that are certain at a certain time. Okay, so you've got will for offers, promises, predictions without evidence, and on-the-spot decisions. You've got going to for your plans and intentions and your predictions with evidence. And you've got present continuous for your future plans and arrangements that you have made and you're certain about. And then you've got present simple for scheduled events, timetables, things that are at a set time in the future. Okay, so these are your future so far. Okay, then it gets a bit more tricky, and we have things like future continuous and future perfect and future perfect continuous. Okay, so for example, I'll give you an example sentence to start with. My thing will let me. Yes, will. Okay, so we could say, when we say this time next week I will be, this time next week I will be visiting my friends. Okay, for example. So this is a future continuous, so we use will plus be plus the verb ing. So will, and this is to talk about what our plan, what we will be doing at a certain point in the future. So that's will plus be plus your verb ing. Okay, and we use it to talk about things that will be in progress at a time in the future. Okay. In the future. Okay. So we say that at this point in the future, this time, you will be doing, this is the action that will be taking place. So, this time tomorrow, hopefully I will be sleeping because I will be tired from getting up so early. Or maybe this time tomorrow I will be sitting on the M25 stuck in traffic coming back from the airport. I hope not, because it'll be late. Or this time tomorrow I'll be eating lunch with my mum and dad because I haven't seen them for 6 weeks. So it's what will be in progress at the time in the future. So you say this time, or this time tomorrow, this time next year, or this time next month I will be, or in 10 years time I will be, I don't know, living in a hot country, hopefully. It's so cold today. Okay, so you're talking about an ongoing event at a time in the future. So next year I will be living in Sudbury, okay, for the whole year, for the ongoing event. So the ongoing event that will be happening at the time in the future. Okay, so that's present, future continuous. And then you've got future perfect. So future perfect talks about something that will be finished by a certain time in the future. So, for example, this time tomorrow I will have collected my parents from the airport. Okay? So, hopefully their flight gets in at 5:30 in the morning, so I should have collected them. And we'll either still be in the car or we'll be back home, but I will have collected them by then. Okay? So that thing should be completed by that point in the future. In February, I will have taught English for 9 years. Okay, it's to say that thing that's at that point is finished in the future. Why does it do that? I'm not very good with phones. So we have will plus have plus past participle. Don't do that. Past participle. And this is called future perfect. And this is to talk about events that will be completed by a point in the future. By a time in the future. Okay. So, this time tomorrow I will have collected, I will have driven, or I will have collected my parents from the airport. And we're going to say by this time. Okay, so that should be completed by the point in the future. It will be finished. You will have finished doing it. So the event is completed. So hopefully this time next year I will have, I'm hoping that this time next year I will have run a marathon. That's my plan. I want to run a half marathon in the spring, and I want to try and run a marathon in 2020. So hopefully by this time next year, I'm trying to remember where we are, it's still 2019. So hopefully this time next year I will have run a marathon. That's my plan. I'm saying hopefully because it's a bit of a challenge. Okay, so I'm hoping that I will have done that by Christmas 2020. This is my plan. I am planning to run a marathon in 2020. So hopefully by Christmas 2020 I will have run a marathon. Okay, so if I say I'm planning to do it, I'm planning to run a marathon in 2020. Okay, so I could say I'm going to run a marathon in 2020. This is my plan, my intention, or I am running a marathon in 2020. I would only say I'm running a marathon in 2020 probably if I've actually booked it in, because that makes me very certain. Okay, so my plan or intention is that I'm going to run a marathon in 2020, so I'm going to enter one soon, because if I don't enter one then I will never do it, because I will just keep putting it off. Do you know what I mean by to put something off? Like to postpone. So I have to enter, I'm going to enter, this is my plan, I'm going to enter a marathon soon, and so that I make sure that I run a marathon in 2020, and hopefully I will have run a marathon by this time next year. So if I haven't, if we get to, I don't know, if it gets to September or October and I haven't told you that I've run a marathon, I need you to make me do it, okay? Because I'm not very motivated at the moment. It's too cold. Okay, so we've got future continuous, where we say what you will be doing in the at a time in the future, the action that will be in progress, and future perfect to say something that you have completed by a point in the future. So for example, if you're studying at university, you might say in September I will have finished my university course. Excuse me. Okay, if you're learning to drive, you might say I will have learnt to drive by the end of 2020. Oh, hiya, thanks for joining. Okay, so, and you can say, if you're certain about it, you can say, you know, I will have passed my driving test. I will have passed my driving test by, you know, June. Or if you're not, because it's like passing your driving test, so everyone is hopeful, but you never know for certain. So you could say, I hope to have passed my driving test by June. Okay, and that means that that's what you want to do. So you can use hope, or hopefully I will have passed by June. So that shows that, you know, that's what you want to do. That's your plan. But if it's not certain, because I don't know how strict they are in Russia, but I was terrible at taking my driving test. It took me 4 goes to pass my driving test. I was so nervous and really bad. But that was a long time ago. Okay, so we've got that one, and the last one, last future tense will be future perfect continuous. So future perfect continuous talks about how long something will have been in progress by a point in the future. Okay. Oh, hi Marina. Marina, hilarious. That's a good name. It always makes me laugh. Okay, so if I say by February I will have been teaching English for 9 years. So that shows, that shows that I started 9 years ago and it's been in progress for all that time, and in February it reaches the 9-year point. Okay, so you use future perfect continuous. Okay, because February is still in the future and I started in the past, I'm doing it now, so it's future perfect continuous. Too confusing, hey? Who needs all these tenses? Right, okay, future perfect continuous. So, future So we go is will plus have plus been plus verb ing. Oh goodness, my phone is being crazy. Stop being crazy. I will have been teaching English for 9 years. Such a long time. Okay, so I started teaching English in the past. I'm still teaching English now, and I will still be teaching English in February. So when we get to February, I will have been teaching English for 9 years. So from the past, the present to the future. Boom. Okay, so that's future perfect. Continuous. I don't know why we need all these tenses. Okay, so that is all your future tenses. So I'm going to go through, because some of you have just joined. Does anyone have any questions? Please just type up a question if you have one. Don't be shy. Just ask me any questions. It can be anything. You can ask me what the weather's doing if you like. It's disgusting. It's grey. Okay. Any questions? You can ask me about England. You can ask me about future tenses. Anything you like. But I'm going to run through the tenses that we have done today for those of you and just do a quick summary. Okay. So we started with will for the future. Will plus infinitive. We said will we use for your on-the-spot decision. So the decision you make at the time. So if you're in a coffee shop, someone says, what do you want? You say, I'll have a coffee. I'll have a hot chocolate. I'll have a massive slice of cake. Okay? You make the decision at the time. You probably haven't planned it ahead. Then you use it for a promise. So like, I'll call you tomorrow. I promise I'll call you tomorrow. Or I promise I'll do my homework. We use it for an offer. So I'll help you. Okay, and you can also use shall for an offer, like a question, shall I help you? And what did I say? Oh, and predictions. Predictions without evidence. So what you think will happen, but you have no evidence for it. Okay, so it's just your own idea about what you think will happen in the future. But you have no evidence to back it up, nothing to go with it. So that's will. Then we have going to, and going to is for your plans and intentions. So things that you have organised to do or that you want to do in the future. And we use going to plus the infinitive. So like I said earlier, you could say I'm going to go swimming this afternoon, or I'm going to see my friend this afternoon. That's my plan, it's my intention, and I'm pretty sure about it, I've organised it. So I use going to. And you can also use going to for a prediction for the future with evidence. So if I'm looking at the weather forecast and somebody says to me, what's the weather like tomorrow? I would say it's going to rain, because the weather forecast, I'm reading the weather forecast, I have it here. Mind you, the weather forecast is normally wrong, but just this is my evidence, okay? So I'd say, the weather forecast says it's going to rain. So I've got evidence because I'm looking at the weather forecast. Excuse me. So that's going to. So going to is your plans, your intentions, and predictions with evidence. Okay? So then we move on to present continuous. And present continuous, it can be used in a similar way to going to, or the same way really. It's a plan, an intention, and it's a set arrangement. If you're certain about something, you're certain that something is happening in the future, you can use present continuous with the time in the future. So because I've organised to see my friend this afternoon, and I've spoken to her and we've made a plan, and I'm 99% sure that this is going to happen, unless, I don't know, something goes wrong, I can say I'm seeing my friend this afternoon. Okay, so instead of having to say I'm going to see my friend this afternoon, I could just say I'm seeing my friend this afternoon, because I'm sure it's happened. I've made the arrangement with her. We've organised it. Okay, so you can use present continuous for the future that way, as long as you use the time in the future with it. So it's for certain plans, arrangements. If you've booked a flight, you know, if you've got a flight tomorrow, you could say I'm flying to London tomorrow, because you're certain, because you have the ticket in your hand. Look, I'm flying to London tomorrow. I know I'm doing it. I've booked the ticket. Okay. Present simple for the future, you can use for timetabled events, so things that are a set time in the future. So you could say I'm flying to London tomorrow, present continuous. The flight is at 5 o'clock in the morning, because the timetabled event is a set time. Okay. My lesson starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow, present simple for the future, for a set time in the future, a timetabled scheduled event. Okay. So you've got will going to present continuous for the future, present simple for the future. Then you've got your ones about the things that are happening at a time in the future. So you've got future continuous, which is what you will be doing at a time in the future. So at this time tomorrow, I will be eating lunch, for example. Oh, hiya. Thanks for joining. So yeah, so future continuous talks about the ongoing event that is happening at the time in the future. So this time tomorrow, I will be eating lunch. It'll be ongoing at that time in the future. And then you've got future perfect. So future perfect, future perfect talks about the finished event at the time in the future. So okay, at 2 o'clock tomorrow, I will have finished my lunch. It'll be completed. I will have eaten it all. Okay, so future perfect is the time where something is completed in the future. And then you have the last one, future perfect continuous, is to talk about the action that has been ongoing, and say how long it's been going on until that point in the future. Okay, and it's usually, again, the same as when we use present perfect continuous, is to indicate this, like the length of time, to emphasise the length of time something has been going on. So in February, I will have been teaching English for 9 years. Okay, at 5:30 tomorrow morning, I will have been driving for an hour and a half, for example. Okay, so it's to say that something has been going on for that length of time until this point in the future. Okay, so they are your future tenses. Any questions on future tenses? You're all very quiet today, I have to say. What time is it in Russia now? I've forgotten how many hours. I know you're all in different places in Russia. Are you all over the place? Because that's all different times. But you're very quiet today. So do you have any questions? Or shall I carry on rambling on at you? Do you know what I mean by to ramble on? It's what I do. It's when we ramble on, it means we talk endlessly. Blah, 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 and you ramble on and on and on. I'll tell you that one. It's like an informal expression. Apparently I do it a lot. To ramble on. It's to talk a lot. A lot. For a long time. Usually about nonsense. Okay. And we have another expression that you might know for somebody who talks a lot, and someone who's a chatterbox. Have you heard that before, Annie? I've always been called a chatterbox, so everybody laughs when I tell them the job that I do. They think it's hilarious. And my daughter is a chatterbox too. I think she gets it from me. There we go. So, are you guys all getting ready for New Year? Are you getting excited? Because I know it's your big celebration in Russia, isn't it? So where are we today? Today's Saturday. Are you all getting ready for New Year's Eve celebrations? So you can use future tenses. You are all planning your New Year's Eve parties, and you are all preparing your houses. Are you decorating your houses? You are going to, I'm going to guess, and you can tell me if I'm right or not. Are you going to go to a friend's house for a party on New Year's Eve? Or are you going to have a party at your house? What one are you going to do? Are you going to a friend's house for a party? Or do you go to, in Russia, do you go to the pubs for New Year's Eve? Or is it all at home? Are you going to have a big meal? What are you going to eat on New Year's Eve? Some of my students have told me that they are going to eat lots of salads. I keep getting told that Russians eat lots of different types of salad around when they have their New Year's Eve meal. Is that correct? You're very quiet today. Come on, tell me what you're going to do for New Year's Eve. Somebody. I'm not doing anything for you. Oh, at our house. Thank you. Perfect. And are you going to have friends over? Or are you going to just have family? And who's going to cook? Do you have to cook? So I cooked my Christmas dinner this year for my family and my aunt and uncle. And it was okay. It went okay. So far, so good. But I haven't got any plans for New Year's Eve. I think I'm going to stay at home with my daughter because I don't have a babysitter. So you're going to, I'm assuming by that picture it means you're going to eat lots of nice food. Perfect. And what are you going to drink? What's a traditional drink for Russia's New Year's Eve party? Is there a traditional drink that you're going to have? Are you going to drink? Okay, so I know that Russians like vodka. Are you going to drink vodka? Or are you going to drink champagne? Or beer? Or wine? What are you going to drink? No. Okay, right. Well, if no one has any questions. Oh, how was my Christmas pudding? The Christmas pudding was good. I cheated because my auntie bought one, so it was okay. Yeah, she did that, and I had trifle, which I'm still eating because it was so big. So I've eaten so much trifle. I need to. You're going to have champagne. Perfect. Good idea. Yeah, I have a bottle of champagne in my house, which I might open on New Year's Eve, actually. Yeah, I've eaten so much trifle because I made a massive pudding and I was the only person eating it. So I'm still eating it. So I need to do lots of running in the new year. Okay, so I'm going to go and leave you to have a lovely weekend. And I can't remember when I'm seeing you next, but I will see you all soon. So have a great weekend and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, did your daughter... Oh, you remembered. Yes, she did. She did. She loves her guinea pigs. Yes. Thank you. Oh, I can't... You remembered. Well done. Thank you. Yes. So she's named them. Her guinea pigs are called Tinky and Binky. And they are very cute. And they have been coming into the house every day for cuddles. And, yeah, she loves them. She was so surprised as well because she thought that when I gave them to her, she was holding them. And she was saying, "Oh, Mummy, are they real? Are they toys? Are they real?" And I had to keep saying, "They're real." So, yeah, she was really excited. Okay. Oh, what is that a picture of? Are they like stars, a starry night? My eyes are so bad. I had an optician's appointment last week and they told me I have to wear my glasses all the time. They are good names. Perfect. Okay. Right, I will, does anyone have any questions? Again? Oh my God, I never know who's here. Right, well, it's lovely talking to you all. And I shall let you go. Have a lovely weekend. And I will see you, I'm not sure what day I'm doing next week. I'm sure I'm here on the Friday. I can't remember if I'm here on Monday. I'll have to check. Okay, but we will see you next week. If I don't see you before New Year's, then have a wonderful time, and I'll say Happy New Year in case I don't see you before, because I can't remember. So have a wonderful time, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend. Take care. Bye bye.